is a short one, the launch brutal in its explosion of pure thrust. It's the mystique of the quarter-mile strip, a special fascination reserved for the realms of awesome acceleration. For decades, automobiles have dominated drag racing competition, but no longer. At drag strips across the country these days, monstrously powerful two-wheeled machines are propelling riders at breathtaking speeds along an asphalt tightrope.
On two wheels. Brought to you by Suzuki. See all the new Suzuki motorcycles at your local Suzuki dealer. Suzuki, performance above all.
To be competitive in this most specialized of motorsports calls for an intimate working relationship between rider, mechanic, and machine. Six-time pro stock champion Terry Vance has consistently been the pace setter around the motorcycle drag racing circuit. But it is only through a close collaboration with his chief mechanic, partner, and closest friend, Vance and Hines, that Vance can run so consistently ahead of his competition. Motorcycle drag racing, now a leading attraction on the NHRA circuit. Terry Vance and Vance and Hines have taken this closely knit community by storm, and still they both maintain a level of commitment and enthusiasm for the sport that's undiminished from their days as starry-eyed fans. Now, though, Terry Vance and Vance and Hines are at the pinnacle of their profession, and today in Englishtown, New Jersey, they're running in the class they've dominated for years. Pro stock, highly modified versions of motorcycles available to consumers for street use. But what sets these machines apart from the ones on sale locally is where a master racing mechanic like Vance and Hines comes into the picture. Although it takes only 8 seconds from acceleration to shutdown a quarter mile later, the preparations for each ride are a matter of serious and meticulous care. And here again, the close collaboration between rider and mechanic become vitally important. The burnout heats the rear tire in preparation for the violent propulsion off the starting line. As the crowd comes alive in expectation, this is also a time for the rider to ready himself for the onslaught to come, to focus all of his senses on that impersonal strip of hard black asphalt, to muster all of his skills and experience in a moment of both consummate poise and high-pitched exhilaration.
It's hard to concentrate on cutting a good light and making a perfect run because the two of them don't go together. You know, if you're trying to feed the clutch, you can't tell your mind to let your hand out slow while you're also telling your mind to let the clutch out fast, you know. So that's the hard part, and that's where it comes in. Some guys are better riders than others because they can make themselves do more than one thing at a time. That's really hard to do.
This elimination heat is closer than Vance expected, yet a win nonetheless.
We weren't running as hard as we should be. We're down a couple mile an hour at least, and we're not really sure why. But the ET's still there, you know, so I'm not sure. We'll figure it out here. We can make some changes and we'll make this run, and then we'll be able to tell, you know.
And now it's time for Byron to go to work.
Regarding the relationship that Byron and I have is respect. You know, I think that when we're together, whether we're winning or whether we're losing, we have respect for each other, and we both know that we're doing the best that we can, and with that in mind, that's really all that counts, and I think that's what's kept us together as long as we've been together.
Their best has been the sports standard of excellence for as long as Terry and Byron have been together. It's an another close race for Vance and Hines. Yet another win in the semifinal heat. But still not satisfied with the bike's performance, they spend the downtime before the finals working out the kinks, determined to do whatever it takes to bring the machine up to peak performance. In the final at Englishtown, it's Vance racing against Randy Mason. Once again, Terry brings home a victory with a flawless performance from Byron's bike.
We've been racing together for a long time, and we have a lot of respect for each other. And I can do my job, and Terry does his, and we can communicate real well. When you got a, exceptional rider like Terry, well, it takes a lot of the strain off the tuner. It works both ways, so.
I'll do the riding, and maybe they'll do the interviews with me or something like that. But the people that are in the sport, or the people that are in the know, that know what's going on, they're more interested in Byron than they are in me, because there's a lot of riders out there, and there's a lot of good ones. There's very few guys like Byron that can tune and do the things and be a builder like he is.
Fremont, California, and another stop on the long road to what Terry and Byron hope will be a 6th Pro Stock Championship title. The first elimination run is a relatively easy win for Terry, as his competition loses power midway down the course and fails to finish. But with the bike still not performing up to their standards, Byron decides that a complete engine change is necessary before the finals. They work furiously together with Vance beside his partner throughout the arduous work performed under a penetrating California sun.
Okay, Dad.
Their partnership is based on consummate faith in each other's skills. Byron's work, though, proves futile, as Terry barely makes it off the line. It's the first Pro Stock final they've lost in more than a year.
When we came back, we were afraid that the transmission in the bike was broken, and we couldn't do anything about it. So we decided to change motors and run our spare motor. Then went back out, and we had ignition problems, so it just ended our day. So when it ain't your day, it ain't your day.
From the time they first teamed up, Terry Vance and Byron Hines have concentrated on Pro Stock. Yet a relatively new challenge for the partnership is top fuel competition. And their goal for '82 is to break the elusive 200-mile-per-hour mark. Both Terry and Byron recognize that top fuel presents greater dangers.
When we have to race that bike, that morning when I wake up, I know that we're running the fueler that day, even if it's qualifying, because there's a feeling in my stomach that tells me that we're racing that bike. And the whole day, I can't eat. All I do is drink sodas or water or whatever, because that's all I can do. Because it's not that my stomach aches or anything. It's just that I don't have any desire for food. I don't know why. I guess my stomach's just churning, and it's not telling me I'm hungry. It's just telling me I'm nervous.
For sheer awesome acceleration, nothing even comes close to top fuel bikes.
Although it thrills me, it's one of the most thrilling things in the world, and I really enjoy racing it, but it does also terrify me.
But like it or not, this is their chosen profession as well as their greatest passion. Along with the formidable physical demands of riding top fuelers come equally intensified psychological pressures.
Before Byron lowers the body down on the fuel bike when they push it up to the starting line, he's going through a checklist in his head about, is everything right, or did he make the right decisions, or what, okay? Before we race the bike, I do go off and be by myself, so I can just be there for a few minutes before the bike's ready to run, so that if there's anything that I should be thinking about, I could be doing that. It's a very important thing that you do the same thing every time, because if you don't, you lose that pattern and you can make a mistake, and that's the one thing that you can't afford in drag racing, because if you make one mistake, you're in the stand. top fuel bike. It's just blinding speed that it's hard to describe. But it does not have to be as finely tuned as the Pro Stock bike in order to be competitive. The Pro Stock bike has to be ridden perfectly and tuned perfectly, where the fuel bike has to be just guided down the track. And that's the difference between riding the two bikes. It's harder to recall what happened when you ride the fuel bike because it's a shorter period of time and it's accelerating so hard. And you're doing everything you can just to pilot it in the right direction.
And now he must get set for a run against the reigning king of top fuel, the #1 rider, Bo O'Brocta. Vance and Hines have no fans more loyal or supportive than Byron's wife, Janice, and Terry's wife, Marcia.
They're kind of leery about crashing, so I'm not real crazy about this bike.
If you've won 10 or 11 races in a row, one race you lose, you know, you just got to say, hey, you know, that's lost, you know. But if it's the other way around, where you lose 10 or 11 and you win one, you know, then it's really hard on your head because, you know, you're thinking, now I got to keep winning, you know, in order to, you know, stay on top. And it's tough sometimes with your wife there with you. You know, we've been married for 10 years and I've been racing every year of it, and she pretty much understands that, and she's very understanding. And the biggest part is win or lose, at least when the race is over, we go home together and you know, we can either share the good parts and we can share the bad parts. And that's what's important. If we only got to share the good parts, I don't think that would be as important as sharing both ends.
Some events carry more significance than merely a mark in the win column. Such an event takes place every Labor Day at Indianapolis Raceway Park. What's more, for Terry, it could mean another shot at dethroning O'Brocta.
Indy is the race that everyone works for all year, and when they're working, you know, towards the season, they run down the races as they come and they go, and what happens is that when they come to Indy, that's the one they want. It's the most important, it's the one with the most spectators, it has the most coverage, and it's the one we want to win.
Winning is what it's all about, especially amid the supreme professionalism and pageantry of the U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis. In their semifinal run, Terry and Byron are up against some formidable opposition in the person of Russ Collins. But it's a rivalry founded on years of friendship and professional association. Back in leaner, younger years, Terry and Byron worked for Collins before forming Vance and Hines Racing to manufacture high-performance motorcycle products. It's usually at the starting line, with every race a new challenge of former teammates. An easy semifinal elimination win over Collins. Still, in Byron's stoicism, there may be more than just his natural reserve at work. Perhaps he's already anticipating what's in store for them in the finals. And right now, across the grandstands, fans' attention is focused on Bo O'Brocta as he moves into position for the final elimination run that will determine Terry's competition. His elimination heat hands down. And as every drag racing enthusiast knows, in the world of top fuel, Bo enjoys a position of unparalleled status, similar to Terry's in Pro Stock, making a Vance O'Brocta Finals the race of the season.
Thank you. I thought it had to be within a certain percent.
About, I'd say about 2/10 off, you know, what we need to run to win a race. So we'll make some changes and hopefully we'll pick up. It's going to be tough.
seconds of him out of the window, and at the moment...
The stage is set for a showdown of the two best in the U.S. finals at Indianapolis. This is what it all comes down to.
What do you think? Ah! Over. What do you run, Byron?
The contrast in personalities between Terry and Byron is never so evident as after Terry's upset victory over Bo O'Brocta at Indy. Terry, of course, is pure emotion, an understandable release after the intense pressures and physical drain of the race. Byron's attention goes immediately to the bike, his creation, which he regards with respect, perhaps even with a little awe after its performance. Still, at this point, they must share the strength of victory, another plateau of accomplishment for these two young champions.
All right, I just can't believe it. What do you go, 51?
56.
All right. God, I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it either. I couldn't believe it, man. When I went through the lights, I couldn't see him, and I thought I got him. I just can't believe it. Oh, that Marshall loved that, huh? Oh, she couldn't believe it.
I'm just glad it's over and he won.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Really, super win, boys.
Thank you. Here we go. Thank you, guys.
Between the best, there is an unspoken respect and admiration, a recognition of skills and abilities that sets them apart from the pack.
Oh, first time I've been beaten over a year. Couldn't happen to a better man.
On to Orange County, California, where Terry Vance and Byron Hines need only one more victory to secure an unprecedented 6 national pro stock championships. But they have 2 elimination runs to worry about before they can set their sights on the finals.
I don't know. It sort of heads up between them.
A win over Randy Mason would put them up against the #1 pro stock challenger Bob Carpenter in the semifinals.
Vance and Mason, the Kawasaki comes into pre-stage. Here is Vance, Teller side. They're in his stage. The light is just a half inch. The wheel out in front. Terry Vance now right alongside the Suzuki Hardcraft. Mason's right with them the whole way.
The competition between Vance and Carpenter, who took Terry's title away in '79, is practically a tradition at every event. Both riding atop their modified Suzuki machines, theirs is a head-to-head competition of 2 great champions. Still, there is an underlying closeness between these 2 hard-riding professionals, told most vividly through a potentially unfortunate occurrence a few seasons back. Shortly before a finals matchup with Terry, Bob received information that Terry's run would be protested. Bob went immediately to Terry and let him know. For Terry, this represented an all-too-rare act of fair play and good sportsmanship. It's something he has never forgotten.
Suzuki singing very sweetly. 84. Pro Stock Finals coming to the line. Mafaro beats a John. Terry Vance makes it a living going down the quarter mile. Starting to pull away on the Suzuki. Terry Vance, 874 at 151 miles an hour.
Another championship season may sound anticlimactic to some, but not to professionals like Terry Vance and Byron Hines.
About the rest of the employees. Here, chow down, Jim.
Can I have a kiss?
And a kiss from a mother means as much.
CHR US Suzuki. Number one more time. Terry Vance.
I'd like to thank U.S. Suzuki naturally because they've been a big part of my career and really my business and just about everything I do. The sport means a lot to me, and you know, Byron and Joe, it'd be impossible to do without them.
You say a name and you know he fits with the award. Pro Mechanic of the Year, Byron Hines.
I'd like to thank NMRA and Terry, and Mike, and I really appreciate it.
Pro Rider of the Year, Terry Vance.
Thank you, John. I think the look on the guys' faces that come up here and receive these awards is enough to really tell you what it means. I mean, you know, there's a lot of guys out there competing, and you know, when you get one of these awards, it's something that happens and it sets you apart from a lot of people, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
At the beginning of every new year, all competitors are equal before the starting lights, making every season a new challenge as top contenders key specifically on the reigning champions. When you're the best, everybody wants a crack at you. And 6 national championships has certainly proven Terry Vance and Byron Hines the very best at what they do.
Drag racing on 2 wheels was brought to you by Suzuki. See all the new Suzuki motorcycles at your local Suzuki dealer. Suzuki, performance above all.